I want you to think about the last time you had absolutely nothing in your bank account. No buffer, no safety net, no room to breathe. Every bill felt like a threat. Every unexpected expense felt like a crisis. The car makes a strange noise and your stomach drops, not because of the car, but because you already know you cannot afford to fix it. That feeling, that specific, suffocating, exhausting feeling, is not just an emotional experience, it is a cognitive one. And it is costing you far more than you realize. Because here is what most financial advisors will never tell you. Poverty does not just empty your wallet, it occupies your mind. It consumes the mental bandwidth you need to make good decisions, think clearly, and build for the future. My name is Warren Buffett, and in over 70 years of studying wealth, how it is built, why it compounds, and why most people never accumulate it, I have observed one threshold that changes almost everything. Not $1 million, not $100,000, $20,000. Stay with me for the next 15 minutes, because the moment your savings cross that number, something shifts, something fundamental, something that goes far beyond the money itself. And once you understand what that shift is and why it happens, you will never think about money the same way again. Now let me start with a story. When I was a young man, barely out of my teenage years, I had saved just over $9,000 from delivering newspapers, selling golf balls, and a small pinball machine I had started with my friend Donald Danley. $9,000 in 1950 was a meaningful sum, but it was not enough. I could feel the difference between having $9,000 and having nothing, but I could also feel the ceiling. The anxiety was still there. One bad decision, one health emergency, one wrong move, and it was gone. Then I crossed a threshold. I kept saving, kept investing, kept compounding, and one day I looked at my balance and something inside me changed. Not because the number was life-changing on its own, but because for the first time in my life I had enough of a cushion that fear stopped driving my decisions. And when fear stops driving your financial decisions, everything changes. Let me explain exactly why $20,000 is the number. The first thing that changes is what researchers call the scarcity mindset. When you have very little money, your brain enters a permanent state of financial emergency. Every decision is filtered through one lens: survival. Can I afford this? What if something goes wrong? What if I lose my job? These are not irrational fears. They are the entirely logical response of a mind that knows it has no margin for error. But here is the devastating side effect of that scarcity mindset. It narrows your thinking. It shrinks your horizon. When you are focused on next week's rent, you physically cannot think clearly about next year's investment strategy. The brain does not have unlimited bandwidth. Financial stress consumes a portion of your cognitive capacity every single day, the same capacity you need to spot opportunities, make good decisions, and build something better. $20,000 does not eliminate financial stress entirely, but it creates enough of a buffer that your brain begins to breathe again. It shifts you from survival mode to strategy mode, and that shift, that single cognitive shift, is worth more than the $20,000 itself. The second thing that changes at $20,000 is your relationship with risk. One of the most misunderstood aspects of wealth building is this: you cannot take the risks necessary to grow without first having a foundation that allows you to survive a loss. Think about it. If your savings account has $200 in it, would you invest in a stock that might drop 30% before it recovers? Of course not. You can't afford to. So you keep your $200 in a checking account earning nothing, while inflation silently eats it, because the risk of loss feels catastrophic. But with $20,000 sitting behind you as a foundation, now you can invest $5,000 of it without it feeling like financial suicide. You have room to be wrong. And being wrong occasionally, losing a little while you learn, is the unavoidable tuition fee for eventually being very right. I've made mistakes, costly ones, I bought Berkshire Hathaway, a failing textile company, out of stubbornness, and it was, by my own admission, a poor decision. But I survived that mistake and learned from it, because I had a foundation. The people who never build wealth aren't always the ones who take bad risks. They're often the ones who never take any risks at all, because they never built the foundation that makes risk survivable. The third thing that changes is opportunity. Here's a truth about wealth that sounds almost cruel when you first hear it. Opportunities are not equally available to everyone, not because of talent or intelligence, but because almost all opportunities require some capital to access. A friend calls you about a small business investment. A house in your neighborhood goes on sale below market value. A stock you've been watching drops 40% in a correction and is now genuinely cheap. If you have no savings, every single one of those opportunities pass you by. You watch from the sidelines while someone else, someone with $20,000 sitting in an account, steps in and captures the gain. Happened my entire career. The people who build wealth are rarely smarter than the people who don't. They are simply more prepared when the moment arrives. And the preparation that matters most, the one that makes you ready when the market drops, when the opportunity appears, when the crisis creates a buying moment, is having capital available. $20,000 is not enough to retire on, but it is enough to say yes when the right moment comes. And in a lifetime of investing, saying yes to even 2 or 3 of the right moments can make all the difference. The fourth thing that changes at $20,000 is identity. This one is harder to measure, but in my experience, it may be the most powerful shift of all. When you cross that threshold for the first time, when you look at your account and see a number that represents genuine discipline, genuine sacrifice, genuine deferred gratification, something changes in how you see yourself. You stop thinking of yourself as someone who cannot save. You stop thinking of yourself as someone who lives paycheck to paycheck. You begin, slowly, quietly, to think of yourself as someone who builds. And identity is everything in wealth creation, because your behavior almost always follows your identity. If you believe you are the kind of person who spends everything they earn, you will find a way to do exactly that, even as your income rises. But if you begin to believe, truly believe, that you are a builder, a saver, an accumulator, your decisions start to reflect that belief automatically. $20,000 is the first proof point. It is the moment you show yourself with evidence that you are capable of building. And that evidence compounds in your mind, just like money compounds in an account. Now, how do you get there? Let me give you the exact steps I would take if I were starting over today with nothing. Step 1. Treat $20,000 as an emergency fund, not an investment. This money has one job and one job only, to sit there and protect you. Keep it in a high-yield savings account where it earns something but remains accessible. Do not invest this money in stocks. Do not lend it to your cousin. Its value is not in what it earns. Its value is in the freedom it creates. Step 2. Build it with painful consistency, not occasional heroics. Every month, before you pay a single bill, move a fixed amount, even if it is small, into that account. $50, $100, $300. The amount matters far less than the habit. Saving is a muscle, and like all muscles, it grows through consistent use, not occasional dramatic effort. Step 3. Cut one thing ruthlessly and redirect it. Look at your spending and find one category where you are consistently spending money on things that bring you almost no real satisfaction. Subscriptions you forget exist, lunches you could easily prepare at home, entertainment you consume out of habit rather than genuine enjoyment. Cut it completely and redirect every dollar of it towards your $20,000 target. One meaningful cut sustained over 12 months can add thousands to your foundation faster than you think. Step 4. Earn more, but save the increase. Most people who earn raises or bonuses immediately adjust their lifestyle to match. A newer car, a bigger apartment, more eaten out. I call this the raise trap, and it is devastating because it keeps you at the same savings level no matter how much your income grows. When your income increases, any increase, large or small, commit to saving at least half of it before it ever touches your lifestyle. Your lifestyle did not need the raise to survive before it arrived. It does not need it afterward either. Step 5. Do not stop at $20,000. $20,000 is the threshold where things begin to change, but it is not the destination. Think of it as base camp. Now you can begin building on top of it, investing, growing, compounding, with the calm, clear, unafraid mind of someone who is no longer just surviving. Because here's the final truth I want to leave you with today. Money, at its core, is not about things. It's not about cars or houses or vacations. It's about options. $20,000 in savings does not buy you luxury. It buys you choice. The choice to say no to a job that is slowly destroying you. The choice to take a chance on something you believe in. The choice to help someone you love when they need it most. The choice to not make a desperate decision simply because you're desperate. That's what changes after $20,000. Not your bank balance, your options. And options, real, meaningful, life-altering options, are what freedom is made of. Before you go, I want to ask you something. Where are you right now on your journey to $20,000? Drop the number in the comments below. Not your exact balance, just where you are on the path. 0 to 5,000, 5 to 10,000, 10 to 20,000, or already there and building beyond it. Leave your number, because seeing where others are on this journey and knowing you're not alone is one of the most powerful motivators that exists. If this video gave you even one idea worth keeping, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe to this channel if you want more honest conversations about money, mindset, and the principles that separate people who build wealth from people who simply dream about it. $20,000. That's where everything begins to change. Now go build it. Thank you for watching.